Let's talk about more with working with the Visual Studio.NET 2003. We're going to talk about our Windows Application 2, which is in the Windows with Controls folder. We're going to show how to work within Visual Studio.NET 2003. You can also work with the previous version, of course. Now, what we're going to do is just show you how to get around and work in the environment here. Not a big deal. For the most part, you're working with your toolbox and your properties. So you can right-click anywhere you want, outside the form, on your actual control there, and get your properties. You can dock things if you want to, drag it out to undock it. Just like that, it helps to have it visible here. We have a small enough form that it can be. If you overlap, you can do that. You can slide over if you want to. You can also pin things so that it stretches out a little bit, so when you're not using it, it's still there, and it's still available for you to work with. And unpin it will do that. So we'll keep it unpinned for now. Now normally you just drag everything onto your form if you want to. Just drag what you need. I have a lot of extra things here that you may not need on your or have in your toolbox. Not a big deal. The idea behind this is that you're just laying things out, you're drawing things up, and you're working with your grid to make your items placed there very nicely, and you're also working with multiple items. You can work with the alignment that's up there as well, and that allows you to just align your normal horizontal and vertical, as well as making the same height and width for your objects, and then work with your spacing. And as you move to the right, you'll see more and more things, horizontal and vertical spacing, where you can increase and decrease the spacing of your objects as well. And since everything is going to be on a particular form, they can overlap, so you can bring them to front and send them to back. This is going to be used quite a lot, as well as adding buttons if you wanted to. This is going to be used quite a lot for you when you're moving things around. You can multi-select, and then use your arrow keys to move things around. Be careful with the shift arrow key, because that's going to, and you can see you can undo and redo as you step through. And it's stepping to make changes with what you were changing in increments, the steps of undos. Just be careful when you hold the shift key down. When you move, it's going to actually resize certain things, as you can see. Not the height and width of this, but it's going to manipulate it, and it might not be what you want to. So you can make these two be the size that you want. Really, you can do this in the code view if you wanted to. You can also do it from the properties, or you can just do it from your alignments here. You know what you want the certain width to be. Well, you set those numbers in there. A lot of times you can do that from the code view. It helps out quite a lot to be able to work with the code view. Like I said, not everything's going to have that change that you want within the initialize component, but you can use it when you want to get everything lined up perfectly. It helps just to do it that way sometimes. Not a big deal. We don't need the Solution Explorer open because we're working with the one form, but you could add here if you wanted to. Add additional forms if you wanted to, and additional files. So we'll add another form there. And you also have to specify what you want to be your startup form. Just a regular window form. And then we have an additional one here called Form 2. And if we looked at that code, we can right-click here and view the code. That it's set up very similarly to the other one, except it's just a default form there. Now just keep in mind that you have a lot of properties here. You have events here as well that you can deal with when you're dealing with your forms. We'll close that one. And you can see that from the events, you can put whatever events you wanted on that form. We'll just put a sample here. And you see that code is automatically added there for the events. And then it's just going to set that up later on. And it's going to be placed in within that area, the initialize component area. And you could find that down further if you want it. This is when the accepts tab changed event is fired. Then you have this new event that's going to take place, and this is the code that you're going to be dealing with, AAA. So when we slide down, then we have an event handler here for AAA. But we don't want that. So we'll just get rid of that. You can select what you want, and then you can view the properties as you want to and manipulate them. There are lots of different properties that you can set, lots of events that you can work with. So this is more or less getting you the understanding of how to work with the environment here to get things done the way you want to. And you can see that this is the view most likely you're going to work with in your alphabetical order as well. And then you can manipulate the properties as you want to, specifying the background color if you wanted to change that, or other properties as well that are going to manipulate this particular form. But that's pretty much how you would bring everything out. You would locate what you wanted to work with and just click on that and then drag it out. So if we wanted to add a button, we could do that. And then we're able to deal with the buttons, handle the events, and code the properties as well to manipulate this as we want to. Now, just to create a new project, of course, we won't save that, but to create a new project, you just do that as normal, but you're picking a Windows application, and we'll just do that as Windows Application 1. We will not save that. We don't want to save those changes. So this is just going to load up a default project for you. You see it's nice and clean, and then you can add things as you need to right on your area here, and you can manipulate them, move them around, and change the design view, the layout view, and that's for the most part how you would deal with things. Just to get started, Toolbox, Properties, and your Solution Explorer are going to get you very far. Building and debugging, and for the most part, that is going to be getting around for the most part in the beginning. You can do quite a lot just within this environment here just by doing that. Not a problem.